definitely. So thanks a lot, Philipp, to allow us to have this discussion regarding Koubachi, your products, LeWeb, Internet of Things, Home Automation, and future of home automation and Internet of Things. So you're the founder of Koubachi?
Yes.
That's true?
Yes.
I'm right? That's great. Koubachi has no real signification. We have already discussed this point, but...
Well, the name itself doesn't have any real signification. The idea and the mission certainly does.
Yeah. So we will take time to go through that. Just can you give me some first words regarding the history of Koubachi, the company, and how do you have this idea and so on?
Yes. Well, I started working on the idea or ideas and problems in the space of Internet of Things. Probably about 7 years ago. Did my PhD in computer science and was working in this area, working with the vision of the computer becoming ever smaller. And it was during that time when I actually was working on many different projects, and they all had quite a few but key parts in common. And to my really big surprise, there were no products on the market. The vision is here for like 20 years, 25 years already, but we don't see the products. And I think there's one or two good reasons why this is, and I think we could crack that. And the other thing is that the plant sensor itself, this was actually the problem for myself.
Okay.
I wanted to have a nice plant in my
good
office.
Good ideas response.
I had no idea what to do, so I looked it up in the internet. Really difficult, and then I thought, this must be a simple solution. And I think the plant sensor and Koubachi as the plant care assistant makes a perfect case for the Internet of Things. To have something talk to you that was not possible before. You give meaning, you give a voice to something, to an item, an object, in the case of a plant, even a living thing, that just couldn't communicate before.
Yeah.
So I think that's a perfect showcase for what the Internet of Things can do for you.
So that's how the idea come.
Yes.
And how now you are organized? How many people are inside Koubachi?
We're currently 11, a team of 11, working well mostly out of the Zurich office.
Okay.
And we're covering all the bases. Like we do have hardware development, software.
Okay, and you are more, let's say, PhD oriented guys, or you have marketing guys, or you are just scientists, or how your team is built up?
Well, everything, right?
Okay.
So there's we do have quite a few PhDs working in research and development, creating state-of-the-art hardware and software. But you also have really good marketing guys.
Okay.
Okay. Guys working out logistics and everything. Right?
So small team, but all invested 200% in the project.
Yes, a really good team cracking on.
Okay. So let's go to your products. Your Wi-Fi plant sensor. So right now you have two products on catalog.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. We do have the Wi-Fi plant sensor. Should I just quickly explain what it does?
Yeah, please.
You can use Koubachi for free. You can just go to our website and register for the service, set up your plans, and you will get an email.
So
you can also install the app. Just the software part of it is completely free, and you don't need a sensor. Okay. So if you want to figure out or find out if Koubachi is something that can help you, you can just go to the website and register or download the iPhone app and try it out. And it already helps you quite a lot. Like it's a lot better than having nothing. But if you want it to be really accurate, you can get the sensor, and the sensor measures the soil moisture, put it into the plant, measures the soil moisture, measures light intensity, measures temperature.
Okay.
And I think the crucial point is battery powered, but it's wireless. So it has a Wi-Fi connection, and it transmits this data real time. It transmits this data to our servers, where we do the analysis for you, so you don't have to know whether 24.5 degrees is the right temperature for your plant or not. We'll just tell you it's okay.
You make the diagnosis.
Right, exactly.
Okay, that's right. So you both propose a platform on internet web-based services that provide information on how to take care of plants and so on.
Yes.
And you have developed it in a second time, or directly, let's say, the hardware part of the project? you've done both together, or first the software and after the hardware? How you manage
No,
it?
the development had to go in parallel.
Okay.
There are some software platforms out there that are meant to work for the Internet of Things, but if you have a hardware product that has to really work, you need to develop some additional stuff that you need to figure out, which is can be quite complicated, and I think we solved those. But to just know what the problem is, you have to develop those in parallel.
Okay, okay. In how many countries right now are you providing your products?
The simple answer is everywhere.
Everywhere, okay.
Well, almost. No, you can go to our web store and we'll try to ship it to wherever you are.
Okay.
It might be a little bit expensive because you have to take care of the shipping. But we have distribution channels in Europe now, so the product is available in Germany, Switzerland, France, UK, a lot of Scandinavian countries, and we're adding more and more countries to that list.
Great, great, impressive. I mean, how long does it take to have these distribution channels and set up all this distribution?
Well, that depends on the resellers.
So growth ratio for Domadoo.
We're actually quite fast. I think we've been very lucky with the plant sensor product because it just gets a lot of attention. And whenever we are at a fair or something, the resellers actually come to us, so we don't have to do cold calls.
Okay,
they call us, they want to have the product, so it makes stuff a lot easier.
Okay, if we can just focus on France, what represents France for you as a country? What's the part of the business you do in France in comparison of the rest of the business? Is France a good customer for plant sensors?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
France is really interesting. I think there's also a lot going on in the area of, first of all, Internet of Things. It's very interesting what technology-wise is happening here in France. I mean, you have Netatmo and Y-Things, so there's a lot of companies doing similar stuff than we do, French companies. And on the other hand, there's also a lot of interest in plants. People obviously love plants a lot in France, and this makes it easy for us. We didn't quite get France from the beginning on because obviously we had to localize everything, but now we're done. So the sensor is in French, the application is in French, and this makes it really easy. So we're happy to work with the French resellers now.
That's great. That's great. Let's focus more on your, let's say, business model, or how you are managing your everyday development or customer relationship. You're providing, as a platform, a service providing information. You can register your various plans, have advice, and so on. What represents that for you in your customer relationship? How do you manage all this data? Are you creating a database? What kind of value have you on that? If does that give you more ideas and so on? How you manage this customer relationships through these services?
Well, for the service, I think the important part for us is that it's as easy as possible for the user, and that's why, for example, we chose that the application is for free. It should be for free. You should be able to just check it out and see whether this works for you or not. And if you buy a sensor, you get even more functionality within the app, free for a lifetime. And I think this is quite a good model for us because it lets people actually just try what they want to do, and they interact with us a lot. So the second part of that is we are in really good contact, I would say, with our users. They have really easy means to give us feedback, and we talk to them. We have people in customer relations working out on feedbacks and what they want to do and what they want to do. And also we look at the data from a statistical point of view. Like we have a lot of views now, so we can tell like which kind of plants are important or are popular, and add more functionality towards what people actually use and people actually want.
So is it a part of your business model, of something you now have some ideas to reuse this database, this amount of information? Or everybody is talking about big data and cloud computing and cloud data mining. How do you manage that? Is this something you are working on?
Well, we're not selling your data.
Okay, that's fine. That's a good point.
Yes, it's not part of the business model at all. What we can do is we can obviously tell something about people using plans, and this is information we're more than happy to share. But we're not selling your data, and particularly, obviously, regarding your privacy, we're not selling like your data. We're not going to do that. I think there's a lot that we can do if we talk about big data by statistically analyzing what we have and the patterns of what people use. But I think that the interesting thing, or the most the important thing, is that we leverage this data to make the user experience more powerful and simpler. That's what we should do, and that's what we try to do by looking at the data.
Okay, so essentially customer oriented and to improve the customer journey inside the application.
Yes, because in the end it's the customer, like it's your customer is the word, right? You want your customer to be happy. Because we in the end we charge, like there's this saying, if something is for free, you are the product, or your personality, your personal private data is the price. And I agree that it's actually the case with a lot of services, and I think that is quite the dangerous approach if you talk about the Internet of Things, because in the end we collect a lot of data. Just the sensor data we have is a lot of interesting data that we could have. So we should make sure that it's actually your data, and we're not going to sell it.
Okay. You have opened your API.
Yes.
So far, how does it go? There are a lot of developers that are using your API.
Yeah, this was a huge success, because honestly, if you go to our API website, it's still in the very early days. There's not a lot of documentation, and there's just a few calls that you can actually use, and we didn't advertise that at all. But we have like a lot more users using our API registering for developer with Koubachi than we expected. And the stuff that people come up is amazing. Like we have makers sending us photos where they create automatic vents and light switches that turn off and on something, or turn on a pump to water the plants automatically with huge conceptions. It's amazing what people do, and I love that about the Internet of Things, because I think in the end that's what it should be all about. There will always be different suppliers of different devices, be it sensors or be it actuators, and what we should do is we should open up the API so people can actually create the Meshup and the logic in the Internet, like we did with the Web 2.0, creating Meshups, just using the protocols and standards that are out there. And I think we're going to see that happening as well with the Internet of Things applications, but using physical products, physical objects.
So we can suppose to have perhaps in the near future an IFTTT rules regarding information provided by Koubachi or something.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? That's great. Sounds great. So, both based on your learning curve on the customer database, on the fact that you are open your API and you see a lot of examples of what people do with your actual product.
Yes.
What is your next big idea? What is your next product? What you're dreaming of?
Well, it's a difficult question because I cannot actually tell you what I'm dreaming of. I'm dreaming of getting the hardware even cheaper. Like that's nice. That will be the first goal.
You have decreased the price for the indoor.
Yes, we did. Like there's certainly still a lot of room for us to lower the price. I think it's important that the customer has a great experience, so we make sure the quality is really a high quality product and it works as advertised. And for us as a rather small company, this means that we have to actually put in a lot of work, so the products will have a price, and eventually it will get lower just by us being more experienced and creating more volume. But also the components that we use, they're built in millions, but not billions. Like we need the components, the wireless components, for example, that we use and Wi-Fi use and other companies. We need them to be produced in billions. And when we reach that point, we can.
How many Koubachi you have already? Working sessions, let's say.
What?
How many Koubachi you have already connected to your platform right now?
let's say 1,000.
Ah, that's
Yes, which is true.
that's nice too.
1,000.
So you growing database and load age, obviously usage. Of
Yes,
the
yes,
product,
yes, absolutely.
So you're feeding yourself with all this information and dreaming of what's next, but it's not clear right now, or you don't want to provide it?
I don't want to provide it. I
Okay,
cannot disclose.
okay.
I have to do the Apple thing here
Okay.
and not tell about, because there's it's I think it's an interesting space and there's a lot going on. We started working on different concepts. We know what we will and can do, but I cannot disclose it. I think we'll just see. For Koubachi, it should make sense in a way that we help people with something. Like it should be something meaningful, something that you struggle with, where we actually help you with interpretation of the data. That's our goal.
Okay, let's have a more larger vision about Internet of Things and home automation, because we are focused on smart homes and so on. So
Right.
something coming often is a discussion. So, what's your vision of Internet of Things? If someone can have a vision, what is the next step? What can be the next big idea on that? How things are going from your point of view? You're inside it.
Yeah.
What's the next?
I think what I said before, the home automation was always a difficult space because, well, first you needed to have wires, which means you need to have a bus, a protocol, any gateway if you want to connect that to the internet. So it gets complicated quite fast, and as a consumer, you have to make a choice. You have to say, I'm going to choose this kind of protocol or this kind of provider. And for even simple solutions like controlling your light from a central gateway or something, you had to have, well, you had to spend quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
And this starts to just disappear, this notion of buying everything from one big provider, but there's small companies and even bigger companies like Philips with the Philips Hue lights that just provide you any product that you can connect to the internet. And I think that's what the Internet of Things actually will help in the smart home space. That you can have this Meshup, the interaction doesn't have to happen on on one protocol, on one gateway within your house. Just have everything
Open
controlled
your
from
Wi-Fi
internet.
and
Open up the
have people
Wi-Fi.
directed to the
Exactly.
network.
Make sure the data is secure. But do these mashups, these controls, do that on the internet.
Okay. That's really interesting, because the actual tendency what we see on the market is have more and more boxes regarding connecting house. Perhaps the best example is SmartThing, providing one box,
Right.
doing all the protocols, but that's true. More and more products are also launched with just Wi-Fi connection and
Right.
direct cloud services provided by Philips or so on. So
Right.
that means that there is two schools right now. For your thinking is that okay, that's a direct Wi-Fi and no box that will perhaps have more customer-oriented satisfaction.
I think it doesn't
goal.
actually matter.
No.
I wouldn't say there's two schools. For the customer, it shouldn't matter whether it's Zigbee or Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or whatever connection.
Yeah,
It's just a wireless connection. I think that the important thing is that the data doesn't end at the one controlling gateway within your home, but that you can actually create applications using different products from different suppliers, using SmartThings as some platform, using Koubachi products, using MyThings, using the Philips Hue, and creating something out of that by controlling all that data within the internet. And no matter what service you could use some services we don't even know of.
Okay, clear. So we are here at LeWeb. You will be on stage tomorrow morning.
I will be.
Yes, definitely. Quite 3 in the morning.
Yes.
You will start the session tomorrow. So far, what have you learned, or what is big wow you had during LeWeb and the different presentations we had so far? Is something that make you think about? Okay, well, that's nice and so on.
To be absolutely honest, I've seen one presentation so far, so I had the pleasure to mainly use my time talking to interesting people like you. No, I really didn't have a lot of time to see the presentations, but I think just the fact that this year's theme is Internet of Things, and we see a lot of hardware.
Yeah, that's true. We've
like,
seen Nest yesterday,
exactly,
smart
with
things.
Nest, smart things. Really, a lot of new hardware that just wasn't there a year ago. I think that speaks for itself.
Okay. So yeah, things are coming also through hardware and through good ideas and simple and useful hardware.
Yes,
That's
and we see startup companies doing hardware again. This hasn't been the case for like 15 years now, or even more.
Yeah.
We see smaller companies from all over the world creating hardware again, because it can be done, and I think that's the interesting. That's where the times now. We'll see a lot more big and small and startup companies doing stuff in this area, and a lot of ideas popping up over the next 24 months.
That's great.
Yes.
Sounds great. So let's see next year.
Yes.
Yes. Perhaps you have an announcement tomorrow or something.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So thank you a lot.
Thank you for having me. It was really interesting talking to you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.